Artists, today we're going to draw from a model. So the model at right is going to inform our drawing at left. So we're going to go over the steps we take to break down the body and to strive for proportional accuracy as closely as possible. So the first thing we're going to start with is, of course, the head, right? Now, it's important to draw the shape it actually is. So, of course, more of an oval, a reverse teardrop, right? Not just a circle. And not just at any angle. We want to draw it at the angle the head is actually at in the image, which means our hunter being tilted slightly to the right, looking downward, we're going to tilt that head a bit too. Next, as my hand leaves the paper, I'm using pencil and thumb to try to determine how many of his heads tall he is. And the answer is about 7, maybe a little over that, 7.5 perhaps. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to draw the neck. Makes sense, right? First head, second neck. Then I'm capturing the spine, the curve of the body. So essentially, when you draw from a model, you're passing a line through the center of the body. Think center of waist to middle of neck, capturing the flow or the curve, that motion that the body is in. Next, I'm drawing the shoulders. I'm trying to get the shape of the top of the torso before I get the sides. And little tip here, just put a dot in the middle of the ball of each shoulder and then connect them. You can capture the right angle then. And in here, you can see one shoulder is below the other for that curve. To the left and the right of the spine, I'm putting 2 vertical lines. I'm curving along the torso there, trying to capture the right angles, and I'm capturing the width of the body. When I create the waistline underneath of that little oval, I'm creating the volume, the weight of the body. Is he thin? Is he heavy? Is he carrying a lot of weight? That's what that waistline tells me. Next, I created what looks like a thong. Some artists actually jokingly refer to it as the bullet or say the upside down crayon. And that is where your legs meet the body. And it's important that it be there because oftentimes artists jump right from the upper torso to the legs. And when they draw the legs just running right into it from underneath without that bullet, they're essentially creating a soup can balancing on stilts, right? So to make certain that we've got everything where it needs to be and we're not overly elongating legs, you got to make certain you put that thong in there, right? Next, you can see I'm putting limbs in, and I'm starting with this deceptively simple, almost stick figure line work, right? My goal here is to try to get the correct angles of the arm, the forearm. Then I'm going to be adding an equal amount of width to the left and the right of those lines, that sort of skeletal structure, to create the meat. Essentially, I'm creating bones and meat, right? The lines help me to capture the correct angle and length, and then these lines on either side, much like the vertical lines on either side of the spine for the torso, are helping me create that appropriate width. So I'm trying to line everything up, get the basic shapes in place, but then I pause, and you can see what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out what's accurate, what's not. Pause occasionally, and this is a perfect time to do it throughout your drawing once you've got the basics in, to ask yourself, essentially policing yourself, what works and what could use work? How can I get more accurate? What do I need to revisit? And in this case, you could see that, well, there was no gap between the torso and the bicep, but in the picture, there's some empty space. So that means I've stunted my arms, right? Or something isn't the appropriate size or angle. So I'm taking a moment to distance the arm from the body a bit. I also noticed that, well, there's too much space between chin and shoulders. There's empty space in my drawing, but in the photo, he's tucked in. There's no empty space there. And I need to get that chin tuck in to get the stance accurate, right? So while I police myself, I'm trying to find areas for improvement to get greater accuracy. Now, let me just jump down the line a bit because you'll notice I'm starting to darken lines. That means once I'm happy with the basic shapes and I'm convinced they're accurate, I can start darkening those lines and refining shapes. So rather than just having an equal width for my limbs everywhere, you can see I'm ensuring I taper ankles, wrists, I swell biceps, shoulders, get the shapes you need for the accuracy that's required until you're happy with it and as close as possible to the reality.